A lie is something we all hear at some point in life, and a thing we have all told. But why do we lie? This seems like a dumb question with a simple response. We lie to deceive someone. But that can't be the only reason, can it? Sure, it may be the most common. What would you do if I told you that a lie can also protect someone? Now hear me out before you click off the video. Just think about it. How many times have you told someone their cooking was good even though it was terrible? I know I have eaten my fair share of Substance X in my life, and I will never allow my friend back into my kitchen. This is an example of lying to protect someone. In this case, protecting a friendship or someone's feelings. Lies come in all forms. They are not always a bad thing. And I know this may sound odd coming from a guy on the internet, but in this case, since it was almost spring, and my friend is a sadist who enjoys torturing me, called me up and decided, let's do an anime watch party. So I thought, why not? I'm not doing anything. Little did I expect to be forced to revisit two anime that broke me the first time I watched it. Your Lie in April, and I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. Since I want to make up for all the tears that my friend caused me, I have decided to talk about something I noticed in both of these anime that not many people talk about. Now, I know that both Your Lie in April and Pancreas have been covered by plenty of YouTubers, so I'm going to save the plot summary and the other stuff you have heard before. But one thing I never hear anyone talk about is the differing underlying meanings of each. Protection of others and the protection of oneself with lies. If you have not seen either of these anime and still want to experience them as blind as possible, I recommend turning off the video now because I will be talking about major spoilers moving forward. So, if you are still here, I assume you have watched the animes or at the very least know what is going to happen. Let's start with the first one. Your Lie in April. In the final episode of this anime, we see our dearest Kaori die after undertaking a very serious surgery. While the surgery is happening, we see this amazingly animated final performance, or as I call it, the goodbye performance. We then see the aftermath of a funeral, and Kosuke receiving a letter from Kaori's parents. Where at the very end of the show, we learn that the lie in April was, I love Wataru, even though she was really in love with Kosuke. This lie was told because Kaori knew she was going to die. She didn't want Kosuke to fall for her, but this effort was in vain, as Kosuke did fall for her, even though all her efforts from trying to never use his name, always calling him friend A, beating him up, being mean, she still became his muse, not only hurting Kosuke, but hurting herself at the same time. This was very touching for me, as I have also lost a muse like this myself. So this was very heart-wrenching. Time and time again, I get close to people for them to only leave me. And this has led me to building many walls around my heart, slowly turning me into a husk of a person with no emotion. There are plenty times when I wake up and I can only view the world in monochrome. So I was able to feel the pain that Kosuke suffered from. Losing a muse is a very hard thing to come to grips with, and the fact that it has now happened 2 times, I can only imagine the pain he is in. Hearing the final line from the anime really did a number on me. I can't do the line any justice, so I will let the main lead say it.
Springtime. It's on the way. The season when we first met. A springtime without you.
The protection of a lie can be simple, but can also cut very deep. It is a two-sided sword. Kaori knew she was going to die, but instead of spending her final days with the man she loved, she decided to help bring him back from the depths of sorrows that he felt for his mom's death. Nothing is more saintly than that. Your Lie in April is a fine example of a great tragedy. It does very well at showing us how we can protect someone with a lie, even though it may cause pain to them or ourselves. I believe this is an important skill to understand. Being honest is still a very noble thing, but, as a wise man once said, the truth can hurt, making it feel very heart-wrenching at the same time. Well, it's not recommended to lie, and we've heard that ever since we were kids. Sometimes you have to. You may want to keep a friendship alive. You may want to hide your true feelings from someone. You may be afraid of an outcome. And sometimes you just want to save face. Which leads me into the next major thought line. Protection of oneself with a lie. This one is less common and also very common at the same time. The best example I can think for this video is that of Sakura Yamamuchi from I Want to Eat Your Pancreas. Talk about a movie that breaks me every time I watch it. It wasn't until looking at the movie while reading the novel as well as the manga did I notice the lie that was actually there. In this movie, Sakura talks about knowing she's going to die. She tries to make some jokes about it so that she's able to stay positive. However, without realizing it, she's actually lying to herself. It was not until watching this movie on a big screen with my friend that I was fully able to take in the fireworks scene, where Sakura breaks down and begins crying. This is when she realizes that she's afraid of dying, and she doesn't want to. She may have been writing a diary called Living with Dying, but in truth, she was lying to herself. She was trying to run away from the reality she was witnessing. She kept telling herself that she was okay with dying, and she knew it was going to happen, but she never really wanted to die. She was trying so hard to save face, and it backfired. It hurt her more when it finally came to the hospital scenes, and it made it realize just how much she wanted to live. However, life can be unfair. Good things happen to bad people, and bad things happen to good people. It's the sad truth of the world. Why this is very sad and very hard to take in. I do understand why people, including myself for a while, did not notice the lie. I think it has something to do with the fact that I have been lying to myself. Not only have I run away from tough problems in the past, I have also lost my own muses before. And if I'm being honest, it's hard to keep going. But I keep lying to myself every day. I try to pretend that I will always be okay, no matter what. I'm making up excuses to keep going and pushing the wheel of life. I have to lie to myself to keep going. Lying in this way helps protect myself. I tell myself I'm not lonely and I don't need friends and everyone hates me. But in truth, I'm just afraid of getting hurt yet again. One thing I should make very clear is that lying is not a good thing. However, there are times when it is necessary. While lies do protect, it can be a double-edged sword, hurting the victim in the process, as well as hurting the speaker at the same time. I will say this. It is always best to be honest, but it is not easy. The truth can hurt, so it is why all people, including myself, lie. Now, I think this is a good place to end today's lesson. There is also a lot to unpack here, but I'm not qualified for that. So let me know your thoughts down in the hate lab below, as I'm very curious to see what others think about this. Have you guys also noticed this element in these shows, or was it just me? With all that said, I'm Professor Plague, and I will now continue on with my life of lies and see just what this cold spring will bring.